Hello, Bill, can you hear me? Hello? Hello, Bill, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Oh. Okay. I think there's this one. Hi, can you hear me? No.
Channel 1.
Yeah, here is channel 1. Mic. Interesting. Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Hi. Yes, I can. Yes. Mm-hmm. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad everyone come to attend my class. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Huang, Shu Cong Huang. Huang is yellow, Shu is a book, and Cong is the wisdom. I came from Taiwan. I'm physician at UAB. Also, I'm a faculty at UAB Medical School. In this series class, I try to present to us the basic Christianity. In the meantime, I try to share my experience from my unbelief to belief. This has five classes, and each have 2 lessons. So this is the first class for Is there any God? First slide. What is God? Is there any God? I use this topic to, this is a difficult topic. It is hard to understand whether there's a God. So I use 4W. That is used in Western culture. That is 4W. What is 4W? The first is what? What is God? What is God? If anyone to know, everyone has his own opinion. What is God? But everyone is different. Everyone has his own opinion. Then it is hard to explain. So we need a definition of God. What is a definition of God? Then we will explain which there among so many gods, which is the true God, because many gods from many nations, they are quite different. Which is the true God among these gods? This is also a hard topic. Next, the third, why? Why? The God is invisible and also cannot be seen, cannot be touched. How can we answer. In my class, I heard lots of answers, very different, and everyone has their own different opinion. So there are several typical answers. First is he is efficacious, responsive to all requests. He is a God. This is a God from Chinese folklore religion, and he is efficacious. I have my need. I pray to this God, then he answer my request. So he is a God. In my class, there is an older lady, older grandfather. He bring his grandson here, and he think that the idol he worship is very efficacious. And he said I'm very concerned. He went to a temple, and he worshiped an idol to pray that he could go to a middle school, and he was very smooth. And he went to a college, and then this idol answered his prayer, and he came to UAB very smoothly. So he believed. But I am a little suspicious because I need accurate definition and also a definitive answer. Because there are other reasons that can explain this phenomena. Because he was very smart, so he can go to a good middle school and also then go to a good college. So this is might be a good reason that he went to smooth in his schooling and his career. And then I think this is another is an explanation. So I cannot believe him. So next is he has a supernatural ability, and supernatural is ability is what we cannot do as ordinary people. And he knows the future and can change the destiny. He is a God. This is the reason why many people believe a God. I give you my testimony to see if this supernatural ability really exists. Before I believe in Christianity, I lived in New York. I went often back to Taiwan to see my parents. I had a relative. He believed fortune teller. He thought that fortune teller was very accurate in predicting the future. So he invited me warmly. So I went with him to the fortune teller. He introduced the fortune teller to me, and we talked with each other. The fortune teller, after a while, he told me that he knew the numbers where I live in New York. So the 3 numbers he told me was accurate. So how could he know this? And then I thought maybe my relative told him already. Then he told me another, thought, because he told me you had a mole. There's a mole on your body, a certain part of your body. I told him I never knew this. I don't have a mole at all on my body. I never noticed it. Then I went back to home to take a bath. So I found there was indeed a mole on my body, exactly on the exact location. How can he know this? I I had my clothes on. How could he know that there was a mole on my body? So he might have some supernatural ability. Such ability is beyond the limitation of space and time. This is really exists. The next is he will reward good and punish evil, will protect me, give me happiness and peace. He is God. In this world, there are many sufferings, and people will not feel peaceful within their heart and mind. So they need something to guide them, and to give them some spiritual support. My mother was a Buddhist. He believed in Buddha, and he worshipped many idols in different temples. He went to a small temple often because in this temple there was an idol that has a supernatural ability. So then the people from this temple often came to my mother to tell her that something would happen, and such things always happen. So my mother believed this sincerely. But once, my mother did not believe in anymore, because my house was on fire, and my father was falling down in escaping the fire, so he was crippled, and such is a huge catastrophe. But nobody came to my house to tell my mother about this. So this idol did not protect my mother, and my mother did not believe it anymore. And these three are not very accurate and not definite, and there are many other explanations. And if someone or something has a supernatural ability, it is not necessary that he is God, because God created angels and demons, and these angels and demons, they have supernatural abilities. So they know something and they don't know something, and they know the future, but their knowledge is limited. But only he who knows everything is a true God. So this cannot persuade me to faith. And also another reason is these people, when they pray, they often pray very selfishly, and they are very self-centered. And if there's a God, we must be centered on him, because he knows everything, and then he knows that what is the best for us. For example, if a kid, he wants everything, but we cannot give him everything, because we know that it is not good for him. If a kid, small kids, they want sugar, many sugars, we not give him whatever he wants, because it's not good for him. So the last one is there's no God at all, only a psychological effect, a kind of spiritual sustenance. In the past, there were two engineers working in Anshan Steel Company from China, and they came to the United States, to Alabama, and someone introduced them my class. So they came to my class. I told them, and everyone come to my class, I will ask them if there's a God. These two men, one was in his 30s, another was in his 50s. I asked them if there's a God. The younger one told me, in this scientific area, there is no God at all. And God is those who are uncultured. All the people believe in God. This is a typical product of atheist education in China. But the older one told me, I experienced many things, and I know there was a God. Probably there's a God, and I cannot prove it. Many things happened, so within my heart, I feel there's a God. But this is very difficult to figure out exactly. So there might be a God, there might not be a God. So atheists thinks there's the God is only psychology effect, kind of spiritual sustenance. So from this message, so many people are very self-centered, and they want the God to satisfy their own needs. This is the idol made by human being. Is not true God. Everyone has their own opinion. So how to know there's a true God? So we need to find a definition of God. So this definition can show me how to define a God and how to find a true God. What is a God? The definition of God is very essential. The first definition, what is a definition? How to find a God? You cannot find it, so you need a definition. The definition refers to the essence and also the characteristics. So if you grasp this essence and the characteristic, you can understand really. I'll give you an example. There's a fruit, is a liu lian. It's produced in Thailand and Southeastern Asia. This liu lian is very interesting. It's a fruit. It's a fruit itself. So he has outer skin and also the inner part and a core inside. Such kind of fruit. So he has incense is a fruit. What is the characteristics? It's very delicious, but smells bad. So some people do not want to eat it because of its smell. So if we say, oh, eat delicious but smell bad, so the bad smell is not fruit. So smell is not the incense. Only the fruit, being a fruit, is the incense. But the characteristic is eating delicious and smelling bad. And only this such kind of fruit, the liu lian eats well and delicious and smell bad. So this is the characteristics. So by the same token, we can define God. What is incense? What is the incense? God is a spirit. What is a spirit? Is a supernatural natural being. Is a living God eternal and almighty. It's not ordinary, normal spirit. It's a transcendent being, eternal being. We know there's a spirit. The spirit is cannot be seen, cannot be touched. It's not a material. Beside God, there's other spirit like angels, demons. Like Confucius said, worship demon and ghost. They are spirit. So is a spirit, is a transcendent spirit, is a normal spirit. He has a supernatural, he has a superpower. According to the Bible, there are some terms to describe this God. One is the living God, another is the eternal God, and also Almighty God is he has because he is very powerful. He created everything, the universe and everything inside. And only this God has such a power. No other spirit has no such a power. So next characteristic is the first is a transcendent philosophy, master, creator, and master of the universe. And a scholar from China told me about this, and this scholar was knowledgeable. As usual, I asked this scholar, is there any God? And he answered, I'm an atheist. There's no God at all. I asked others, is there any God? And asked him, what is the definition? Can you tell me what is the definition of God? And he told me, I'm an atheist. I said, oh, no matter. It's all. Can you give me the God? What's the definition of God if there's one? And this scholar told me, I read lots of philosophy book, and according to philosophy, the God is a creator and master of the universe. And I thought this is a very excellent definition. It's the master and creator and master of the universe. This is the first cause in philosophy. It's a transcendent first cause. What is the first cause? Because philosophy says there's one absolute truth, that cause and effect. So in everything you can find cause effect. For example, if you have one, if I am a effect, then my mother is a cause. If a plant there is an effect and cause and effect in the flower. Because there's a plant, then there's a flower. But this plant was grown from out of another seed. So this is a cause effect. And then philosophers said there is a paradox in cause and effect. Then what is the final cause? This is hard to explain. And if we say God created the world, then who created God? Who is the parents? Who are the parents of God? So many people think like this, and the philosophers said there is a cause that is uncaused cause, and this is the first cause. And he has no cause. And the philosophy, not only Western culture philosophy thought like this. Many famous philosophers over the world have such a thought, like Lao Tzu in China. Lao Tzu said, the word that can be told in words is not the internal word. The name that can be named is not the internal name. So this Tao, this word, is the first cause. And the Tao that can be told is not the internal Tao or word. And the name that can be named is not the internal name. So Lao Tzu analyzes the first cause with the Tao and with the name. What is the first cause? The first cause is how did Lao Tzu explain the first cause? He said, out of Tao there's one, out of one there's two, and out of two there's three, and three begets everything, and everything from this Tao. And he described this Tao. He used such sentences, verses. This Tao is independent from, and is also unchangeable. And he did exist by himself, and he will not change, and he will last forever. And he is like I am in the Bible. So all philosophies conclude this first cause. And this is a very accurate and sure me. Because I am a scientist, I learned medicine and science. Because I am an accurate people. If without any assurance and accuracy, I will not believe. Because science is everything in science is very accurate. There's a very small error in science, like 99% of out of 100 is correct, and 10 out of 1 is not correct. I can believe. Maybe medicine is a little loose. Maybe out of 95 out of 100% is correct. 5 out of 100 is incorrect. Then I think I can believe. So why scientists, many scientists believe this, and the philosophy like this? Because many atheists also accepted the first cause. Why? How atheists accept the first cause? Because they think the universe itself is the first cause. So then accept the first cause like this. So this first cause assure me that I can believe. The second one that assure me is the designer, the transcendent designer in science, who designed the laws and rules in matter, energy, and biology in universe. So this is so-called the transcendent designer. Who proposed this? Is Einstein, Albert Einstein, the most famous scientist in the 20th century is Einstein, Albert Einstein. He is very smart, and he proposed many things. It's hard for us to understand. For example, the matter-energy conversion, and also some other discoveries. It's hard to understand, but finally it turned out to be truth. Einstein used to be an atheist. When I talk about Einstein, they say, "Oh, Einstein was an atheist." Many scholars from China believe he was he was an atheist. But he came to the United States when he was teaching at university in USA. He became gradually believe there's a God. After teaching, giving class, and he asked his class, "Do you?" And then one of his students asked him, "Teacher, you used to be an atheist, but now you are not. How can you change from atheist from a non-atheist theist?" Einstein answered, "I read a lot of books and I know lots of physical principles, and from this I gradually understand realize there's a God. For example, in this world is very complicated, but it's very delicate. Like there's an atom. Atom is composed of proton and also neutrons and proton, neutron, and electron. A neutron and a proton is in the center, and electron is on the outer orbit. And these electrons, they process in different direction. Like the electrons, they are left rotation, and it's very, very complicated but very delicate. And this reminds me that in medicine there's such a phenomenon, and in medicine, the human proton they are all left rotated, but artificial protons they are right rotated, and with such a dedicated structure, there must be a designer. And in addition, Einstein told there was a physical principle. The physical principles are usually very simple, very concise, and very concise formula. And Einstein discovered the mass energy conversion. The energy is mass times the square of light speed. This is very, very, very amazing, because matter is matter, energy is energy, but then they can be converted to each other. This is very amazing, and behind this, there must be a transcendent designer, and this reminds me of my story in my learning computer. I'm now in my 80s, but in my college, we didn't learn computer. After come to the United States, after come to UAB, and I'm a faculty, and they said, "You are old faculty professors, but you don't know how to use a computer. But computer is very useful in medicine. You have to know and you have to learn computer in order to apply them in medicine." And so they taught us computer and how to program. So I was very interested in, especially the program. So I know how to copy and paste, and this is very interesting. And I always told my technician, and when you copy, I can help you. I can do it myself. And this is very exciting. But later, this became useless because the computer is evolving, and we don't need to copy and paste. We just use and we can use mouse to drag from one folder, a file from one folder to another. So we don't need to copy. And so why it's so simple? Because there's a designer behind it. And in this world, all animals, all plants, there are principles. These essential principles are always very simple. There must be a transcendent designer behind it. I believe Einstein, because he is not a casual people, and he is very prudent, and the God is not play fortune. And what Einstein said is trustworthy. So he said the God is the first transcendent designer and creator. This is very trustworthy. So from these two features, characteristics, I can believe, like liu lian, the fruit, eating delicious, but smell bad. Is there's a God? I use this to analyze this. And from the incense and from the characteristic, the transcendent first cause, the transcendent designer, they are very trustworthy. It's like medicine is 95%, 100% trustworthy. And another interesting phenomenon is the smarter a scientist is, and the more probable that he believes in a God. Many smarter scientists, they are believers because they see the wonderful universe and they see the conciseness of physical principle, and they think it's very reliable. There's the transcendent designer behind it. So if there's a God, it's very reliable from this analysis. Okay, we'll stop.